Hello, class. Tonight I'm going to be talking about domestic violence, particularly with women. Over the course of this class and over the course of last class, I studied domestic violence against women. Unfortunately, it is a big problem, and it's almost like a secretive problem. Not a lot of people like to talk about it. Domestic violence can be seen through mental, physical, and verbal abuse, and many more different abuses. For this particular client, her name is Sarah. She came in, I guess about 3 weeks ago, so this is going to be our third session. She came in because she went to her primary doctor because she was feeling depressed. Her primary doctor said, maybe you should go talk to a therapist about your feelings, and through talking to her, we have discovered that she is feeling depressed, she's feeling not worthy of living, she's feeling disrespected, and she's just feeling like she doesn't make a contribution to the society. Over the time, we have exposed that there has been some abuse in her relationship. There has not been a full-fledged physical abuse exposure, but there has been little hints talking about how there has been some physical abuse. The thing about domestic violence victims is that sometimes it's hard for them to come out and tell you exactly what is going on, the abuse that they are receiving, whether it be physical, mental, or emotional, or all three put together. A lot of victims feel as though it's their fault, and a lot of victims go through the whole blaming themselves stage. Once they reach this stage, they have a hard time finding themselves to be worthy about anything. In particular with Sarah, who is my client, she is a 34-year-old married woman. She has been married for 10 years now to her college sweetheart. She has 2 children. One child is 7 and another child is 2 years old. Before she had her children, she had a life. She had friends. She went to the movies, went to the mall, had dinner weekly with her friends. She also had a job. Once the kids came into the picture, she did reveal to me that her husband became very demanding, very abusive, verbally, and very controlling of her every move. Basically set a parameter of where she could go. She is only allowed to stay in the house, but when she does get permission to go other places, she does go to the park, to the mall, summer, all the time with the kids. She was asked to quit her job. She used to work in retail for, I think, 10 years. She worked there for a really long time. She really enjoyed it. She liked the social aspect of it, and she loved just being there. Now she's at the point where she doesn't get out of the house unless it's with the kids. She doesn't do the things that she used to enjoy. Basically, what we're doing is cognitive behavioral therapy with her. So what happens a lot of times with domestic abuse victims, they have a hard time, like I said before, admitting that they are in an abusive relationship and admitting that their partner is being abusive to them. So working with Sarah, what we're trying to do is kind of bring out the aspects of her when she used to feel like the person she was before the abuse started. We're really working as a team, sort of to empower her and feel like normal again as when she did before the abuse started happening. Every week we have been discussing homework. Sarah had homework to do this past session. She was to do activities that used to bring her joy. I had asked her, to take part in activities that used to make her happy, used to make her feel good about herself. Sarah has a very hard time defining who she is as a single woman. She is always going back to her husband, going back to how she identifies as a wife, going back to how she identifies as a mother. Unfortunately, with domestic abuse victims, this happens often. They sort of forget their own identity and go into an identity where they only see themselves as the caretaker for somebody else and always worried about someone else's feelings and emotions and their needs. So Sarah should be here shortly, and once she gets here, like I said, we're going to go over her homework. So she is here, so give me 1 second. Hey Sarah, how are you?
Hi Kate, how are you?
Oh, come on in.
Thank you.
How have you been?
I've been good.
How was your travel here?
It was good.
Good. I know it's really raining out, so I just want to make sure you got here okay.
Okay.
So, last time we left off, I gave you some homework to do, and I wanted to go over the things that maybe you were able to do this week.
Yeah.
So, what was one of the things that we had discussed in the prior session?
Well, the first thing I did is I went to the park with the kids.
Okay.
So I just took them over to Washington Park.
Okay.
And we, went on the playground.
Okay.
And
That's good.
Yeah.
And how were the kids? Did they enjoy it?
They loved it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel?
It made me feel good. It did, to see the kids come with me to the park and I guess to just kind of hang out with no worries.
Right.
Really.
I know that, last week you were saying that your kids kind of had felt that you were distant towards them and upset. So I'm glad that you were able to spend a little time with them and reconnect. And that's really great. I'm glad that you were able to do that.
Yeah.
When after you were at the park and when you went back home, how did you feel when you saw your husband?
Oh, when I saw my husband, I guess I just felt like it was like a downer, because when I went to the park, it was so much fun and the kids were laughing and I was laughing and I was kind of in the moment with them. And then when I went back home and I saw him there, it was kind of just like every other day. Just sad.
Okay. So, with the next day, did you do anything that made you feel good or something that you enjoyed?
Well, the next thing that on my homework was for spinning.
Okay.
Like I signed up for a spinning class and I went there on Tuesday and it was just for me. I mean, obviously the kids didn't come, but I went with my friend.
Okay.
And it was fun.
Great.
It was something that, I did a long time ago that I kind of dropped, that I picked up again.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was so good spending time with your friend.
It was good having like quality time with her, and not just quality time with my friend, but being able to do something for myself and to exercise and to kind of get like the stress out of the everyday life, because I don't work anymore. So I know we talked about this in previous sessions, and like I don't work anymore, so it was good to do something for myself and to be able to kind of let out the frustration.
Right. And exercise is a great way to let out stress and just clear your endorphins. And I'm really happy to hear that you did spinning. Great.
Yeah,
So, did you do anything else this week?
Well, another part of my homework was to read.
Okay.
And so I did. I didn't really. It's hard with the kids.
Right,
at home to kind of get get reading all the time. But once the kids went to bed and stuff like that, and my husband was in bed and I was done doing like the dishes and everything I'm expected to do every day.
Right.
I did read a little bit.
Okay.
And it was like a good time to myself, and it kind of like got my head right, because it's been hard for me to sleep and stuff. So it kind of got me being able to go to bed.
What did you read?
It's called The Gift of Fear.
Okay. I think I've heard of that book before.
Yeah, it's a really, really good book, and it's kind of like empowering. It talks about fear and kind of how to handle that, and when it's appropriate to be fearful, when it's not. So it's a cool book.
That's great. I'm so happy to hear that you're reading something that gives you that empowerment, that strength within inside you. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
So what else did you do?
Well, before I used to love to bake and I used to love to cook in general. So just this past weekend, I baked a cake for my mom's birthday.
Okay.
And, from scratch. So that was nice.
Wow.
And the kids helped, and they did, the eggs and beating it up and, cooking it and stuff like that. So
Great.
it was a good thing that we can do together.
And were you able to bring the cake to your mom?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, and she loved it, and the kids felt so, like, accomplished and happy because they got to do something, that their grandma could be proud of, and they participated in it. So
I know that you said that sometimes your husband kind of doesn't let you go talk to your parents and your family, and I know that it's hard to balance that relationship with your husband and balance the relationship with your family. So I'm glad to hear that you got to go see your mom. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been hard because my husband doesn't really. Over the years of us being married, I've kind of became like estranged from my family and from my friends. So I think, my mom was really happy to hear from us and, from me and the kids.
Good. And how did that make you feel?
It felt so good.
Good.
To see my mom again.
Yeah.
And to be able to just be there and be present with her. And, I don't know if my husband's so happy about it, but I'm happy about it.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that you're feeling good about going to see your mom, and I'm sure, like you said, she was so happy to see you. So that's really great that you were able to go see her.
Yeah.
What's something else that you did?
Well, the last thing I did, and the most important thing, I went to church on Sunday, which I haven't done in so long.
Wow.
And I went with the kids again. My husband didn't want to come with me, but I did take the kids. And it was amazing. It felt so good to just be there, be a part of the community that I've missed for so long. And to hear, the sermons and stuff, like, I just miss being a part of that lifestyle and that community. Right. So that felt so good.
Was it good to interact with other people? And
it was. I mean, it was a little awkward because they would ask, like, where my husband is and,
right.
Is he coming or where is he? And, like, obviously, I have to kind of put on like a nice face and say, like, oh, he has work or he has this or that. But, it was good for me. But there was definitely awkward moments.
Yeah. Well, that was so brave of you to go and to know that, I think that's normal for people to ask where your husband is because they know that you're married and they know that there's a significant other in your life. But that's awesome. I'm so very proud of you that you did that. You stood up for yourself and you went and you faced that fear because, like, last week you were saying that you were a little nervous in seeing people and telling people that you're doing things without your husband and actually coming out of the house, because I know you said that's been a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I made the decision last week that I really need to get back to, what makes me happy, as an individual. And, my husband kind of makes it hard. He's made it hard for the past couple of years to, be connected with my community and with my family and my friends. Right. So I'm a little scared of how he's going to feel when he knows that I'm starting to do this. That gives me a lot of anxiety, but I love doing them.
Well, like we said last week, you just take one step at a time. I'm not expecting you to complete all the activities that you said that you wanted to do. It's really great that you completed those 5 activities that you listed. That is awesome. That's a great step in the right direction. But some weeks you may run into where you don't do the things that you want to do. Maybe you can only do one thing. Maybe you can do 2 things. But just being able to do that one little thing is really going to give you some strength within. And I'm glad to see you even look like you're feeling a little better.
Yeah, and it does. And, with my kids, I think is a big thing, too. Like, I mean, I do it for myself, but it was so nice to see, like, the looks on my kids' face when we were at church and they got to, meet the other kids at church and just when we played in the park, just, like, those little things. And we're not, like, so bogged down, at home and just kind of worrying about what my husband's going to say. So, I mean, it is good, but it's still anxiety-provoking knowing that, like, he's might say something or might have a problem with it.
Yeah. And like we say, we're going to work as a team and we're going to work through this one step at a time. I don't expect you to do all these activities, and I'm so happy that you did do these activities.
Yeah, me too.
Did your husband find out that you did any of these activities?
I mean, he clearly, he knew we went to church and, he knew we went to the park and stuff like that. But he doesn't, I mean, the cake thing was a big thing for him because he doesn't like my mom and he doesn't think that I should be around her. And he also doesn't think I should be around my friends. So that's a big thing for him. Like, it's almost like he's, like, overprotective.
Right.
And he just always wants, me and the kids, to himself. And that's why when I went to my mom's, like, it wasn't the best thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you did it, right? And you found the power within, and how did that make you feel after, although he said, no, I don't want you to do this, you did it. How did that make you feel?
I think it gave me a little anxiety with what he would think, but then when I was thinking about me in the moment when I was with my family and my friends, it felt amazing. Good. Like, I miss, seeing them and seeing my family, but I'm always afraid of what he's going to think.
Right. So you're scared of what he'll think about it, of how you feel towards those type of things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm afraid of how he's going to react, like, towards, me being around my family because he doesn't like them. He thinks my mom doesn't like him and there's always a problem. So that's what I'm concerned about. And I'm concerned that he thinks that I'm just trying to leave him or I'm, like, cheating on him when I'm going out, and because he always has something to say if I'm not in the house.
And how does that make you feel?
I mean, I feel like it's my fault because, in the past, like, we've had problems and stuff like that, and maybe I've given him reasons not to trust me. I don't know. Okay,
so you think that maybe you have given him certain reasons for him to, worry about the trust he has within you?
Maybe. I feel like that's what he says. I think I've been a good wife. I've tried to be a good wife, but he doesn't think so. So I just think I'm putting all my energy into him, or I have been putting all my energy into him. But doing these things, it's made me feel happy.
Okay.
So
I'm really, really glad to hear that. Yes. Yeah. And I think you should, and I think that we should continue with this homework. And, you know, like I said, next week, maybe try something that makes you feel a little better. Try something different. Is there anything else that you used to like to do that maybe you don't and do anymore?
I mean, I used to, well, before I had the kids, I used to work.
Okay.
But, you know, I haven't done that in a while. I mean, I'm kind of focusing on the kids now, but,
right.
I mean, that's kind of like in the future. Like, I definitely would love to work again.
Okay.
But maybe, you know, next week, maybe taking the kids to the park again. That'll be so much fun.
Okay.
And definitely going spinning again with my friend.
Okay.
I would love to do that again.
Okay, that's great to hear. I think that you wanting to work in the future, that's something that we can definitely work on within our sessions coming up. I think for this week, I just want you to focus on maybe doing some more things that make you feel good. Go back to the park with the kids. Go back to spinning class if it made you feel so great. And then, you know, keep trying different little things that you used to feel good about and just see how it makes you feel at the end.
Yeah.
And then I want you to write it down like last time and come back and tell me how it goes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for coming in. Have a great day.
You too.
I'll walk you out.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay, Clays. So as you can see, working with Sarah, she is a very, very willing person. I feel like Sarah knows the issues that are at hand. One of her strengths is that she does want to make herself feel better. She wants to make herself feel better, not only for herself, but because of her kids. We haven't gotten to the point where the husband is playing a major role in our sessions, but it's mostly focused on her and her kids. Me and her have been working as a team to empower her and feel better about herself and the things that used to make her happy. One thing about Sarah that I guess could be looked at as a challenge is that sometimes, as you can see, she has a hard time telling the expanded truth, and that may come over time. Fortunately, over these sessions, Sarah has been very willing to work on herself and very open. I do feel as though Sarah feels like we are a team and that she does trust me to confide in me and to let me know what exactly is going on in her home. Like I said, the one challenge may be that Sarah is not so willing to tell every little detail. Another thing that I would like to go over with Sarah, and maybe in the next few sessions, is her childhood. I would like to understand how she grew up, how her mom and dad's relationship is, how she took part in the family dynamic. I think that comes with a lot of truth behind what her thinking is now and with her relationship. One of the theories that I pulled from writing the papers was social learning theory. A lot of times with domestic abuse victims is that this is what they learned growing up. Unfortunately, a lot of times what happens is as a little girl, you see your mom and dad your dad abusing your mom, and you see your mom go back and go back and go back, and what happens is you think that's okay, you think it's acceptable, and you might not be doing this consciously, but you're doing it subconsciously. And I think that may be something that Sarah is going through. We're going to work together. We're going to keep on working as a team. I would like our sessions to at least be 12 weeks. And maybe at that point we can see where we are and move on from there, whether it be maybe she comes in once a month, maybe she still comes in once a week. Right now, what I'm trying to do is really just get her to a point where she feels like she's worth it and respected. I think with cognitive behavioral therapy, it will take us a long way, and we'll be able to show Sarah that she can do activities and feel herself and feel good in it, and that would really go in the long run. I want her to be able to feel like she is worth what she is, and to feel like that mother that she longs to be to her children. Once we get over that hump, I am hoping to maybe talk about the domestic abuse. That is in the long run, so we're just going to take it one session at a time, and that's pretty much it. I really appreciate you watching our session, and I hope you guys have a great night.